In 1943, it was one of our strategic aims to draw as many German forces as possible away from the Russian front and French coastal areas and to contain them on the Italian peninsula while liberating as much of Italy as might be possible with the means at our disposal.
As General Clark was well aware, our objectives were one thing, the achieving of them another.
Well, in other words, through Italy, I mean, we got up to Monte Cassino. At Monte Cassino, they pulled us off the line. We took a little bit of invasion, more or less, practice on the boats. And then we got on the boats and went to Anzio.
Welcome once again, J76NY here. Welcome back to Burden of Command. We have got some rebuilding to do. Nickel Company is pretty beat up and demoralized here, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough to go around. So what I need to do is try and get these guys as built up as possible without completely breaking the bank. It's not looking too good here. We also have a lot of replacements we have to correct here. They've got one. Let's highly trained replacements. Let's go with that here. Three prestige. Damn. That's one. One replacement. All right, I don't think I'm going to be able to replace everybody, but we can at least get some of them down. The morale on these guys, the combat fatigue, is going to be a problem. This squad right here, they are beat up bad. Yeah, we don't have the prestige. That's going to have to come from that right there. Should have enough to go around. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have nine replacements. They're green, so they're going to lose some experience. I could try and bump up the experience. What do we have here? Stress. 2 loyalty. So I can get rid of his stress. All right, and then one more here. I could do something about his stress too, so we'll do that. All right. Got to get some experience in these guys. Says he's got stress, but he doesn't. 25, 2 loyalty, and 2 prestige. Alright, so he got 1. Now we don't have any prestige left to do anything else with, so that is all we're going to be able to do to rebuild Nickel Company. Okay, November 1943, November 15th, 0600 hours. You wake to the sound of thunder, German thunder. The constant patter of rain on the canvas above is a counterpoint to the distant artillery furor. The cot creaks beneath you as you brush the sleep from your eyes. The damp maps on the table are revealed. It has been 30 soaking miles since crossing the Volturno, a torment of storm-swollen streams and half-flooded roads. Regiment has lost more men from pneumonia and trench foot than Kraut bullets. And now there's Monte La Defensa. So if you're not familiar with Burden of Command, it is a tactical role-playing RPG. There is a lot of text and a lot of story. The story is a pretty good one. It's compelling, keeps you engaged in terms of what your men are going through and the story of Nickel Company. The combat is also a part of this. I don't want to say it's a minor part of it, because as you can see, as you saw at the beginning, when you take a lot of casualties, it costs a lot to rebuild. So combat plays a very heavy role in this, but you are leading your men. You have squads that you lead. Each squad has a leader. You can be wounded. I think my character's been wounded about 6 times. I've lost a couple of squad leaders. So the mountain looms over the company's shallow trenches, the knuckle of a giant stone fist jutting into the steel-gray sky. On its crests are the Germans and their artillery spotters. Monte La Defensa has to be taken. For the past week, Regiment has tried its damnedest. Damnedest was an apt description, and it wasn't good. German troops on Monte La Defensa could rake the 3rd Infantry Division's advance with accurate artillery fire. From John McManus's book, American Courage, American Carnage. John McManus is one of my favorite World War II historians, and he was heavily involved in the crafting of this game. Truckloads of fresh face replacements come up the road from Naples every day. The wounded and the dead go back down the same way. You catch sight of Colonel Heinz making a little show for the arriving soldiers despite the rain, or because of it. When he sees you, he motions you over with an old wooden cane, a gift from his men. Simple, handcrafted Sicilian wood to give him something to balance on. Well, he heals up. All right. Good morning, Colonel. Not for the rest of us, Heinz notes with a thin layer of humor draped over an endless depth of exhausted frustration. While you were sleeping, we were trying to storm our way up a 60-foot cliff. He waves a hand at the stream of dead and wounded behind him. You can guess how that went. The Colonel's recklessness finally caught up with him not long after you crossed the Volturno. A German mortar put half a dozen steel fragments in his leg and blew a chunk out of rock into his back. He has walked with a cane ever since. There's no time for a lengthy hospital stay. You have some work for us. There's never a good attack on a hill, or wait patiently for him to talk. What do you have for Nickel Company, Colonel? Colonel came by to do more than chew the fat with a subordinate. There are more wounded up there, he notes. I need one of your platoons to help fetch and carry. What would be your suggestion? Carrying wounded under fire can be even harder than actually fighting the enemy. Hard to take cover, and you can't return fire while are lugging a stretcher. It can take 3 or 4 men to bring one out alive, which in effect makes all those men combat ineffective. So it's a double-edged sword. Battalion surgeons remove the fragments, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, we could take Thompson in his 1st platoon, Rao, Turney in 3rd platoon, or Stern in the weapons platoon. I'm going to take Rao. Rao is a real go-getter, I guess. If he knows Rao, he doesn't give a sign of it. Rao is a German, by the way. He's of German descent. Let's just say that. He's not entirely trusting. But he's been doing a pretty good job, so we can't really criticize him. 2nd platoon takes very light casualties. Trust -5. I regret to inform you that I have failed to carry out your orders, Lieutenant Rao reports frustratedly when he returns. 3 hours later, empty-handed. Enemy resistance was overwhelming. Then men refused to advance further. I accept full responsibility for this failure. Okay. Colonel Heinz is grim when you report the news to him, and it soon becomes clear that it has nothing to do with your failure that morning. Our casualty reports aren't good, Captain. The way things stand, we'll be desperately short-handed on our next attack. You brace yourself for the words you know are coming. I'm rotating Nickel Company back into the line. The next time we go up La Defensia, you'll go up with us. Hope your men are up for the fight. Wow. We'll fight, sir. We aren't ready. Or we'll do what we can. We're going to fight. Good, that's what I want to hear, because you and your company will have a hell of a lot of fighting ahead of you. He fixes you with a look that is half exhaustion and half pity. I'll take a lot more killing and a lot more dying before La Defensia falls. Let's get your men ready, Captain. You'll need all the time you can get. You brief your platoon leaders to help shake the company out of a month in reserve. Weapons are checked and replacements are requisitioned. Passes are canceled, supplies are tallied, and you order a fresh stack of stationery for the letters you must write to the next of kin of the coming casualties. Then the call comes. Advance? No. Withdraw. Not just your outfit either, but the entire division is headed back to Naples. Rumor has it that the brass are moving up a special commando force to take La Defensia instead. You see them the day your unit departs. They pull in on trucks just as Morris finished stuffing your Jeep. Men in bulky ski pants and parkas carrying familiar weapons and unfamiliar equipment. Each one wears a red spearhead patch on his shoulder. USA, it says horizontally across the top, and Canada, it reads vertically. Quietly wish them luck. Whoever they are, Monte La Defensia is their problem now. First Special Services Force, the so-called Devil's Brigade. American lumberjacks, Canadian prospectors, and ruffians. Okay. 7th Infantry Regiment's new billets lie beyond the ancient grandeur in Naples, but looks like these guys are still in Africa. But the promise of hot showers, hot food, and fresh dry clothes is more than enough to make a collection of wooden huts look like a promised land. But that will have to wait, because a tall brunette in a OD service uniform and first lieutenant's bar strides towards you with a manila folder in his hand. Are you the officer in command of Nickel Company, 3rd Battalion? She asks in a businesslike tone after she snaps off a parade ground salute. What's a lady doing like you doing out here? Can I help you with something, Lieutenant? On the contrary, Captain, I think I'm here to help you. I'm Lieutenant Rogers. I help administer 5th Army's medical facility here in Naples, and I can tell you right now that your men will soon be in terrible danger. Is Naples that dangerous? I thought Naples was clear to the enemy. What's the threat you're so worried about? The kind you least expect, Captain. The war has left thousands homeless, and refugees are pouring in. Most are starving and destitute. The men traffic in the black market or take up theft to survive. Most women don't have that option. Rogers tilts her head towards the sprawling city below. Desperate women are selling their virtues, and soldiers like yours, healthy young men who haven't seen a woman in weeks, are buying. All right. I don't see a problem with that. And nothing spreads VD like unregulated prostitution. We're going to go with that. Exactly. These women can't afford to care if they've got the clap. They'll sell themselves all the same. If your boys go down there unprepared, they may find the price of a good time to be more than they bargained for. The whack officer purses her lips. We're doing what we can to keep the infection contained. She looks like she's crying or been beat up. Maybe she has the clap. How much, sister? We've even set up sanctioned bordellos staffed by regular inspection girls, like Las Vegas. Can't have the entire army out with VD. Rogers flourishes her manila folder. I, for one, would rather prevent than cure. I'm here to deliver a safety brief to your men before they're set loose on the city. Normally, they'd send a physician, but they're pretty busy dealing with actual cases. Now then, I'm certain you will agree that forewarned is forewarned, and I wouldn't want to see your company walk unwittingly into my ambush. Possible trust loss. Possible prestige lost. I don't want further details. She's going to lecture him on safe sex practices. Do I even want to let her do it? Yeah, go ahead. Talk to the men about their promiscuities. I'll need some time to set up an overhead projector where I could show pictures of genitalia infected by clap. They did that in boot camp, by the way. I was in boot camp in 1994, and they were showing pictures of mutilated genitalia. This is what could happen if you don't mind your P's and Q's when out in the town. It was awkward, to say the least. And we lost some trust. The men who'd won passes back to Naples after you'd crossed the Volturno and fought so splendidly are even surlier. They know what the city has to offer, and if there's anything that a tired and grumpy infantryman hates more than being lectured, it's being lectured on what they already know. But you are their CO, and even if you won't punish them, the army still might. And I would like my men to be disease-free when we go into combat. When you herd your company into the, converted warehouse of a mess hall, an hour later, Lieutenant Rogers is waiting beside a bulky overhead projector that all but overtops a wheeled cart. Venereal disease can kill, and prophylaxis, is your only defense. Condoms would be easier to spell. How does a broad like you know so much about VD? Wow. Personal experience? Condoms? I don't know about that. How about you come back to my bunk and give me a hands-on demonstration, someone says to her. Jesus. My guys are very upfront. It has many names, but once you get it, you can't forget it. This was a bad idea, Sergeant Grant whispers. Save the world, I'll cut this short and save the lady the embarrassment. Looks like she can take care of herself. They're disrespecting a superior officer. I don't want to lose any more trust, but... They are disrespecting a superior officer. I don't have any penalties for this one. Or perks. We'll go with that. Lieutenant Rogers presses on, but the heckling is getting to her. Even though her voice stays calm and measured, you can see her neck tense and the veins pop in her forehead. It's clear she can't hold out much longer, yet she keeps talking, and the harassment continues. This is until the first slide goes up. It's like H.P. Lovecraft took up photography. I told you. Lieutenant Rogers speaks with cold, clinical attention to the horrible detail of every slide. When she covers the treatment of crystallized seepage via a rubber mallet, oh no! Oh dear. I never want to see that again. I'm really glad they didn't show any pictures over here. Thank you, Rose. One of the more pleasant safety briefings I've ever delivered. Oh, really? Let's hope your boys stay out of trouble. Let's hope my pictures scared them into celibacy. Doubtful, but maybe they'll be a little more careful. No one sane goes to war earnestly eager to perish, and only a fool thinks himself unlucky for returning whole. 3rd Platoon Sergeant Ross steps into your office. He's been conspicuous in action during the destruction of the German panzers beyond the Volturno River. I can't find Lieutenant Turney. How long have you been looking? Over an hour, Captain. Lieutenant Turney. He's more interested in reading his books than giving orders. Lately, the other sergeants and I have been running the platoon. Does he do this in a firefight? Turney may reduce combat fatigue. My combat fatigue goes down by 10. But what if he... Does he do this in a firefight? No. He's with us then, but when the men need him afterward, he's gone. How long has this been going on? Past couple days. He's not a bad officer, but he's no Lieutenant Dearborn. Well, Dearborn is dead. Oh, I wish I could go back and see what Turney's combat fatigue is. If it doesn't affect him in combat, we're gonna skip this here. I lost 10 in combat fatigue, so that's a good thing. Can't intervene in every platoon that has a problem. There simply isn't time. If Ross knows what's wrong, he can fix it. Take command of 3rd Platoon, Ross. Okay. With most of the men off in Naples, your workload slackens drastically. For the first time in a long time, you aren't spending long hours preparing for combat, on the march, in combat, or dealing with a myriad of other problems. Between you, Grant, and Morris' terse scribbles, the paperwork disappears quickly. By 1100, the in-pile on your desk is actually empty. For a few minutes, you entertain the concept of free time, until First Sergeant Grant returns from a smoke break wearing a worried look. Random event possible. Prestige or trust change. Loyalty -2. Skip this section. The new draft of replacements just came up from Naples just now. It'd be a welcome sight if it weren't for the fact that there are nobody there to greet them. All the platoon sergeants are up on 3-day passes, getting clap. If someone doesn't teach these guys how things work out there, they won't last 10 minutes when we get sent into combat. Call the sergeants back from leave. +10 on the combat fatigue. I think the sergeants need their rest. We can handle this ourselves. Over the next few days, you teach the new men about the illustrious 125-year history of the 7th. You work the new men until you're worn them completely ragged but ready. More problems trickle in over the next few days. Thankfully, your sergeants and platoon leaders usually deal with them First Sergeant Grant once again pokes his head into your office, now familiar worried look in his eye. "We got a problem, Captain." Campbell says his rifle is missing. You hold back a sigh. Men lose equipment all the time, though usually not something like a rifle. This isn't the first time either. He reported his weapon missing back in Rabat, too. And again when we were in Palermo. Each time it was while he was on leave. You think he's been selling them? What do you think, Grant? I think he's been selling them. It's the sort of thing that could warrant investigation, but there's also the sort of thing that likely to eat up most, if not all, of your precious free time. Crime doesn't pay. Gain some time to relax. He can't be stealing Army equipment. Grant handles the proceedings nice and quick. Within minutes, he has the MPs out looking for your larcenous private, which is arrested by nightfall. He's not my problem anymore. Combat fatigue, down 10. That evening, you do something you haven't been able to do in a long time. You step away from your desk, leave your duties behind, and go to sleep early. For months, you've been sleeping on the ground or under wet canvas. You woke not knowing when you'd be able to sleep again when emergency or artillery fire came to call. So that night, you slept deep and undisturbed. And when you wake up, you feel more clear-headed than you've had in weeks. Lose 6 men reduced by safety brief? Days pass and the problems keep coming. An entire field hospital devoted to VDs. Not entirely unbelievable. We lose 6 men to VD. Only a small number of them coming down with VD. My men aren't monks. Safety briefing really did pay off. One morning at the beginning of your second week in Naples, you return to your desk to find a memo from Colonel Heinz marked urgent. Colonel Sherman will inspect the battalion tomorrow at 1000 hours. Prepare accordingly. Unfortunately, Nickel Company is also manifestly unprepared to face an inspection after its turn on the front lines. To measure up to the standards of the rear echelon brass, it's going to take time, spit, and requisition forms for polish. Trust minus 10. Trust plus 20. Possible prestige loss. We'll just skip the inspection. Fuck it. We'll be on maneuvers that day. Scheduling a lengthy field exercise is a difficult thing on short notice, let alone one that's signed off by a general. Camp short distance for retired men. This is better than an inspection. But what comes after that is the question. What's coming? Turns out to be intense training. An autumn turns to winter, and the incessant rain grows colder. You and your men are issued new equipment and cold weather uniforms before they are put through the ringer to build up stamina and strength. Christmas and New Year's Day come and go. Who's this guy? CO of the 3rd Battalion, Major Rossin. Oh, okay. William Rossin has been promoted to Major near the end of the Southern Italy campaign. Still shy of his 26th birthday, he took over command of the 3rd Battalion when Heinz, exhausted by his bad back, succumbed to jaundice in November. Did he die? Wow. 1943 isn't the only thing the 7th Infantry Regiment sees off. Colonel Heinz hasn't recovered, so he leaves. Major Rossin, newly promoted former regimental staff officer, is on his way, and he's 25 years old. Theoretically, the 7th is a veteran regiment, but it doesn't always feel like it. Question gets thrown in sharper relief when 7th is pulled out of its bivouac and sent to a small town called Puzzuoli on the coast. There, the entire 6th Corps and some Brits, waterproof equipment, run along beaches and reduce mock pillboxes. In the distance lies hundreds of ships gathered in the Bay of Naples. Constant stream of supply trucks, heavy guns, and tanks pack the roads. Whatever's planned for your men is going to be big, risky, and amphibious. 2 weeks into January, the entire Corps commences a full-dress landing rehearsal. It's a disaster. Barely a quarter of the landing ships make it to the starting line on time, nobody makes it to the right beaches, and the Navy somehow manages to dump nearly 24 of your division's precious field guns into the ocean. Yet the orders on high don't change. The main event is planned for January 22nd. There will be no further rehearsal. That evening, sodden and defeated, you and your company eat in silence. Everybody knows what's coming. An invasion with a new battalion commander, a train wreck of a plan, and only 7 days before the ramps drop. Where the fuck is Anzio? Okay, I guess we know where we're going.
A surprise landing behind enemy lines. We'd seen that in Sicily, and so had the Germans.
22nd of January 1944, midnight amid the Tyrrhene Sea. The deck of the landing craft heaves up and down as it has ever since the fleet left Naples. This will be the third time this war the cotton balers land on a hostile beach. Just like back in Sicily, you're going to outflank the Germans by storming in like Vikings from the sea. From somewhere in your back, you hear the obnoxious braying of a donkey. This is dependent on surprise. I do not hear any donkey. Another invasion awaits. For the veterans in Nickel Company, this is just another Saturday in the Army. Even Private Roberts knows to find a place out of the wind in order to light a cigarette and keep warm. Replacements crowd around him. One asks what the fighting was like way back in Morocco. Wasn't an easy ride. The boats were cracking apart like old wood. Roberts catches your eye for a moment at the back of the group. Tell them about the French. Leadership change, possible trust and prestige change. Possible trust and prestige change. I'll listen quietly. There was a lot of fighting. We nabbed a bunch of Germans in Fadala, Cape, whatever. Then you show up. Most of these new men are apprehensive because they've never seen combat. Some of your veterans are apprehensive because they have seen combat. Skip the speech. High chance for trust +5. Even chance of trust +8. Low chance. I'm going to go with the even chance. Head over to a knot of veterans. The men ask what you did in Naples. You tell them the truth, which isn't all that interesting. Garrison life never is. Landing craft commences a noticeable turn. Its engines rumble to full power. Word is passed down. The turn towards landing beach X-ray has begun. The men take their places. A few dim red lamps aboard are snuffed out, leaving the night utterly dark. Then the clouds part. Starlight spills from the inky heavens, tracing the invasion fleet and the oncoming shoreline in ghostly silhouette. Someone forgot the Artie. Usually by now there's a lot of great big kabooms. Ain't you heard, Patterson? Everything's rationed these days. You half expect the Germans to open fire after that quip. Instead, a barrage of rockets rise from one of the British ships in the distance. The rocket flares light up the night and streak towards the beach like falling stars. The Navy does its duty. There is the usual frantic advance. The desire for cover is driven by the fear of unfriendly round fired in the dark. But all stay quiet but for the muffled thump of boots on sand. It becomes clear that X-Ray Beach is utterly undefended, or nearly so. It's kind of like they wanted the troops to get ashore. Yeah. Okay. Prisoners, Captain. I bet Battalion will want to hear what they have to say if the krauts are fresh squeezed. Do we have time for that? Interrogate the prisoners personally. Put a guard on them. Send them up to Battalion. Order Crosley to take the prisoners over to where the Battalion CP will be. Major Rawson can take care of it from there. There's a glow in the east. The sun is coming up over the Albano Hills, spilling forth pale light. I can see the Albanus Mons. The Romans loved this place. My mother said it was a place of poets and philosophers, and gosh darn, but I'd love to see it before the fighting gets here. Majestic indeed. Attorney reduces combat fatigue by 10. Word arrives from Battalion. Advance and secure the beachhead. No word about those hills, though. You give the order and Nickel Company marches inland from the dunes. 6 days later, the Albano Hills still lie in the distance. The combined British and American forces now occupy 7 square miles of territory. 7 square miles packed with men, vehicles, and a mountain of supplies. The Germans hold the rest. The coffin of an engine turns you from the first hint of your 6th dawn at Anzio. The vehicle turns out to be a command car. Rawson hops out the moment the vehicle halts behind a white-walled house. You need to hurry, Captain, before things get hot. Division is preparing a field order. The breakout is to go. Sounds like good news. The plan for the advance from Anzio is developed considerably. The division will attack towards Cisterna and Velleteri Gap on the 30th. That much has been fixed. The rest is still coming together. Likely the 3rd of the 15th on your right and most of the 7th on your left. Likely starting with Item Company, but that's all preliminary. Motions for you to follow him to the back of the command car. An orderly raises the canvas and reveals a somewhat ruffled Captain Boston, still gripping the sides of the vehicle with both hands. I'm not doing that again. Are we still in Italy? The map that Rawson sets out are dog-eared and mud-splattered. See what this says. Planned offensive out of Anzio. Alright. We'll be working together again. Says Captain Boston. There'll be a counterattack like that ridge in Sicily. You're itching to go forward, so am I, but we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. The objective for day 1 will be Cisterna de Latoria, right here. I'm sure it's somewhere on the map. It's a bit tricky. Rangers will be going in first before in the dark. 2 battalions for 1 town. Let them lay things out. A good-sized ditch that parallels the road. We'll be using it to screen the advance. 1,000 yards of the town. Town lets us into the Alban Hills, and if we take the hills, we can cut off the Germans still fighting our boys in the mountains. We do that, we can bag the Hun and then move on to Rome. But it all starts with Cisterna. Questions? No. I expect that the basis of the plan won't change, only the details. You'll have artillery and call on armor once you clear the road. Get your men ready. All goes well, we'll be in Rome next week. That's our cue, says the major as a German shell rips through the sky. We'll be discussing how to bag even more prisoners at the battalion briefing after dark. See you in the town, Captain Boston says. Cold seeps into your bones as you and Nickel Company watch the Rangers climb into the Pantano ditch. Wait for dawn, distant thunder. Okay, here we are. Mission: seize the objective, suffer no more than moderate casualties. A rip of automatic fire breaks silence as a MG-42 opens up near the distant town of Cisterna. The pre-dawn haze resounds with the thump-thump of enemy mortars, the bombs bursting before the town in a bright flash. The Rangers have found the Germans, and the Germans don't seem surprised. All right, so here we are down here. We've got Rao, Thompson, we got the MG squad, me here, we got Turney here, and our objectives. This is a secondary objective here, as is this, and this. Primary objective is this house. All right, so we got a couple secondary objectives on the west side of the map. We've got our primary objective up here. So let me take a look at this and see how I want to advance. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go forward slow. We got a lot of ground to cover, though. I don't know if one squad would be enough for this side of the map. I mean, it's a secondary objective, but primary objective's up here. So obviously that's where my main concern is going to be. Doesn't look like they have line of sight down through here, unless there's someone up in here. I'm not going to send them directly up the road. All right. So Rao first up.
Hurry yourselves up! That tree there. You see it?
I'm going to try and get everybody up together.
There's no cover that way.
There's no cover anywhere.
We're gonna need support.
All right. I want you to go this way. Why can't you go this way? I really don't want you to go right up the road. Then here's the other MG. I think I'm going to be heading out this way and taking command myself. Wow, he can still move. Good. End his turn right there. I don't want him to go this way. I really don't want him right up in the middle of the road like this. There we go. All right.
Hello,
Right here. Hey, Kraut. Okay, so can we lay down any fire here? Recon by fire. I think they're right here. Oh, we can't. See, that's J. Bring you over here. All right. Move these guys into cover. All right. I can take command here. Put some fire on that tree.
Suppressing fire!
There's nothing going on there. All right, that's fine. Okay. Artillery connection secure. 2 guns report ready at your command. Big guns are certainly welcome, but a lack of armor makes this less a combined arms offensive than a World War I slog. All right, so we know they're here. have line of sight. Jay's gonna have to move up a little bit. Okay. Still don't have line of sight. I could call in smoke. That might be helpful. All right. Rally the unit.
Gonna take a lot of rounds.
All right, where's his other unit? Still way back here. Oh, this is MG. Where the hell's this other unit? Right here. Recon fire.
Fire!
All right, well, that didn't work. Bolster.
Williams, it's me, meine Bruder! Stay close. Advancing!
They're shooting through the fire. All right.
Keep firing!
That revealed nothing, I guess. All right, let's... Can we do any recon by fire here? Nope. All right. Gonna bolster. So we can get the mortars up. So we can fire everywhere except where I want them to. I'm going to lay down some smoke right here.
We're not done yet!
All right. Guess I could take command here. Move him out. All right.
They're looking right down our throats.
Get into these trenches. Okay. "14 turns left. 2 Sherman tanks creep down the road. There's plenty of mud splashed on them already. Artillery and tanks in hand, the enemy can commence, or the attack can commence." Beautiful. Okay, so where are our tanks? Right there. Armor arrives. Fantastic. Wow, we got... Can we recon by fire? Right up the road.
You'll have to really work it over.
All right, move up. Let's have you come in over here. Tank's engine revs hard as it begins to spew mud out back like bogged down. Oh, I guess I gotta go back to the road. That kind of sucks. Well, he's out of movement. Oh, wait. No. Damn it. Didn't want to do that. I could have reversed.
Das ist ein Heimatschuss!
There we go. All right, we got one of them.
Hello, cotton balers!
Fuck off. I should be able to move back. Move in reverse. I guess I can't move at all. I hope I'm not stuck there for the rest of the match. .105mm. I can't shoot that, really. Okay. I can only move this far. All right, we'll suppress them. Twice. All right, we killed one of them. .60mm mortars. All right, let's have you move up.
Stop wasting time. Move.
All right, rally these guys.
The men are waiting.
I'm going to take charge of Rao. Make an assault on this position here. We got them to worry about too. Wonder if Jay can put fire on them now. Off-map fire. Nope. Can't put them on everywhere but where they are. Alright, if you say so. Alright, bolster here.
The men depend on you, Captain.
Can you recon by fire? Nope.
Halt it drauf!
Can you assault? Too far low morale. Let's try and take him out.
No good, sir.
Okay. All right, rally. Can't rally yourself, Rao. Rally. There we go.
Ready for more?
Now Rao can move forward. Now we're stuck now. Let's try this. Nope. Nope. Okay.
Let's get going.
Where's the rest of your squad? Oh, they're all with you. Let's bolster them.
That's the way.
Move up.
Don't drift off. Yates, stay close.
We gotta do something about this here. Oh, and this.
Weiterfeuern!
Ouch. Okay. All right.
Hey, Kaugummi-Soldaten!
Let's bolster.
This is bad!
Start moving across. Like that. Okay. Should have one more turn or one more movement. We do. It's looking good. Hit him from the flank.
Hold up!
Oh, right. And he still can't move. So. I can fire everywhere but where I need to. All right, 13 turns left. And we're moving up. I think I'm going to call this episode right here. We'll continue this fight up the road to Cisterna in the next one. A lot of dialogue in the beginning of the episode. Try and keep these under an hour or so, or they'd be 2.5 hours long. So I'm going to call this episode right here. We will continue with our fight in the next episode. We've got position here and here. So far we haven't found anything on our left, but doesn't mean it's not there. So the plan going forward is going to be to basically try and take these objectives with the units that we have here while Turney moves up the west side of the map to these objectives. If we don't get these, that's secondary. The main objective is up here in the corner. Anyway, if you like the episode, hit the like button. If you have any thoughts, tips, or advice, leave those in the comments down below. If you want to follow along through Burden of Command, hit the subscribe, and we'll pick this up again in the next episode. J76NY saying thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a very good day.